You're watching Brazos Valley This Morning on KBTX News 3.
Well, this weekend, protests and riots erupted in cities across the nation, mourning the loss of and demanding justice for the death of George Floyd, who died while in police custody. Now, it has reignited and highlighted an ongoing racial problem throughout the country. It's a difficult conversation to have with each other, let alone our children. But joining us to discuss the issue is Crystal Brown. She's a sociologist with Sam Houston State University. Crystal, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'd like to start because it is such a difficult conversation to have, but we need to do this. How do we talk to our kids about complex issues like racial tensions?
I strongly suggest that you find out where your child is development-wise concerning these issues. You don't want to dive in and discuss things that are sort of beyond them, but also you don't want to, beat a dead horse for things that they already know. Children are incredibly sensitive. They're incredibly observant. So the first thing that you want to do is find out what your child's understanding is when it comes to issues of racism and prejudice. What are those things? What is their knowledge of those things? So I think the first thing that you have to do is assess your child.
And how do you talk to them about, you want to reassure them that they will be safe, because this is scary stuff. And sometimes we as parents, as we're trying to stay up to date on what's happening, we're seeing some of these images that can be frightening. And as a mom, boy, the thought of any child just being scared in all of this, it's hard to deal with, really.
I agree. Even as an adult, these images are very difficult to process, and you do have to take that into consideration as far as what you expose your children to. And that isn't to shield them, but unfortunately, if it's hard on you as an adult, it's going to be hard on the child. We reassure them by regrounding them, making sure that mentally they're healthy, that they are capable of seeing certain things. Of course, we've been flooded with a lot of images that are disheartening, but there's been incredible images, not only in Texas, but in other places as well. Communities working together as far as cleanup. We've seen people of across different racial and ethnic backgrounds praying together as well. So don't just feed into the child's fear. You also want to reiterate, not only from your perspective as a parent that you're keeping them safe, but there are people outside of the home that will keep them safe as well.
I am a California native, and I remember the riots and the protests following the incident with Rodney King and the acquittal of those officers. And so this really is just watching these images again. I can only imagine for people who are older than me, who and seeing videos on social media talking about one generation doing this and hoping the next one is going to make a change and be able to find the solution to this. Has there been a difference since the early 1990s to now?
Absolutely. I think that because of these latest events, there has been a lot of discussion, as you've said, about how maybe we're regressing as a society. I think the illusion sometimes that we have is that progress is a straight line, and it isn't. It comes in zigzags, but definitely we're moving forward. We've seen things where across all ethnic lines, violence has decreased, and we can't forget that. We've seen more African Americans enrolled in college in comparison to 10, 20 years ago. There have been great strides that have been made, and we can't lose sight of that because of temporary circumstances.
Crystal Brown, sociologist with Sam Houston State University. Thank you so much for your time and your perspective this afternoon.
You're welcome.